Just let me know if you see two browser windows side by side or something like
Yep, all good.
that. Okay. So first of all, I want to apologize for the fact that I only was a man of my word and not a man of my facts. Meaning that I said that I will send the recordings with how to generate the test with ChatGPT because there were some issues while you had the call and recorded, and those were not present. And uh, unfortunately, sometimes reality is more tough than you expect. And long story short, I had some important issues to resolve at my job, which took quite all most of my time, and I didn't manage to do this. So sorry, and we'll try to make it up now because the topic of today is somehow to continue the generation of the test and have a short intro and a tutorial for Python programming language. Just some basic concepts and some basic functions that you could use just to understand the code. Because in time, if you are interested, you can learn more. But for now, the code that ChatGPT generates for you, it's helpful if you understand this concept in order to understand that code. So, given that, I will also demonstrate the full flow of how you can use uh, this RankFSL application of mine to do this kind of tests and play around with Python. And we'll also show again how to generate the test cases and I mean the test from test cases, and then I hope that it will include a combination. It will be better. Let's say it will be a more extended version. So we'll try to combine them all. So let me just try to start one more file. Those cases. Okay, this is for later. Okay, so we'll start from the beginning. So this is the repo of my project, and if you go at the bottom, there is a contributing section. This is mostly for developers, but you can skip to the end and go to the testing section. And here you will find the steps how to actually start the application and how to run manual tests and then also automated tests. So we'll do together all these steps. So in order to be clear. So what's happening is what we'll do, just a short intro, is this application is a command line application, so it doesn't have any UI. You just run it like from a terminal, like in Windows. If you press Windows key and R, so it will pop up a small window that you if you run if you write CMD like command, it will start like a black window where you can write commands, and that is the terminal or command line command prompt. And there you actually can start this application, and behind the scenes it will perform its functionality, and then you can run your test against it. And what the application does is maybe let's start doing the steps because there is a step where it takes a bit of time to create, and I'll explain by then. And you'll need a GitHub account for this, so you can just use your email to create a GitHub account for free. And what it will do is will start a machine on GitHub services, on GitHub servers, which It's not a very strong one, but it's enough for our purposes. And the the way that they do this for free is they give you 60 hours of free usages, which is, I think, reasonable or more than enough for this purpose. And you use that instance and run your test and do your Python code there. You will see. So first is this step. So open the repo is this link. You go to this link and then you press the code as you see here. And this you can ignore. Let me delete it. Just clear for you. You'll have something like this and just create code space on me. So this will actually create the machine on the GitHub side. This will take a bit of time. So this application, what it does is giving you the ability to encrypt a folder. So let's say you have some sensitive data that you don't want others to see. You can encrypt it in a folder, and that folder, for example, you can then back up to an unsafe location, like a server that you maybe don't trust, and they cannot access your data. And also, you could use something like Google Drive or on any other Dropbox or other synchronization services like Torrent in order to synchronize between multiple devices. And actually, it will offer you the uh, comfort and the security that even Google cannot decrypt this data because it uses various mathematical uh, concepts and operations which are very hard to compute, which means that you need a very strong computer. So it's not, let's say, impossible to break, but it's let's say extremely hard. So it's not feasible. Let's say that's the term to for someone to try to break your data to see what's in there because it could cost in just if you take the I don't know how much an Amazon instance cost and how much time is needed. It could cost like in order of trillions of dollars. So I don't know if you have something so important, then someone will be willing to spend trillions of dollars to find. I think you are in a bigger problem than that. So you have other bigger problem. And for day-to-day purposes, for normal users, this encryption is way more than enough. And this actually this application gives you this ability and in order for you to work with the files it exposes a folder, for example, like a regular folder, which is like a view somehow that offers you the ability to see the files in their normal form, in their plain text, how you create them. But this is just all this encryption, the encryption magic happens behind the scenes, and you actually access the files, but they are not actually decrypted. Let's say anywhere, just very small parts of it. Like for example, when you look YouTube movie video, you see that you have on the progress bar you have like an indicator that it's showing you a little bit for in the ahead of while your position where your play position is. So this is what's called a buffer. Buffer is like uh, let's say an area where you can store something that others can consume, and given the consumer and producer could happen at the different speeds, this buffer is a place where you could produce slower than the consumer at some point or faster at other points, and it's like a lake with a dam, for example, and the lake is the buffer, and the water level could fluctuate based on the precipitation, on the rain level rain conditions, and at the end of the dam when you open it, you'll have a steady flow of water. So this is what a buffer offers you. Actually a lake with a dam, it is a buffer, and only that size it's actually decrypted, which is very small, like 200, specifically 255 kilobytes, which is like, I don't know, small JPEG image. Okay, so then we'll go to the next steps, and normally, so if this is the terminal, this is for step 6. This is the terminal at the bottom. And if this doesn't happen, you can just go to the menu, terminal, and new terminal, and it will open new one for you. In this case, it happened. Most likely, it will in your case too. And then you need to run this command. So by pressing this, it will copy the commands, and here you can paste them. You can just Ctrl V or paste from it, and just bear in mind that you need to also press enter after these commands, and then they will be executed. Here you just press enter also. Okay, so now it's finished. Here it says that if somehow you have an error, then you should do this. But in our case, everything is correct. For example, you can see here Rust is installed now. Great. Okay. After this, we run these steps. Just paste. So the idea with this setup, let's say, is that you can run all this setup in your browser. You don't need to install anything locally, like you see here on the left. I only have the browser, and maybe just to explain you a little bit what this means. So this what you see here is what is called let's say a code editor. So this is how, for example, developers work to create the code, and also the automation guys from the QA. And here on the left is like the source code of the project. So you can see here the files of the project, and this is similar to how you will what you will use to write your test also. And for now, it's not so relevant to understand all this. Just understand that this is the tool that helps you to write your tests, and this is where the code is edited and run. Let's say. So normally these steps that we did now is just for the setup phase. You just need to do them first time, and then from that point on, when you will want to resume, for example, you will do these steps from here. So we can just close the window with the tab so that you can see what will be the next times. So next time if you refresh, you'll have here image. I mean, let's say an instance that is created for you. So you can either press on the name, or you can go here at the menu and open the browser, and it will open up the same window that we actually closed. And from these steps, you just follow the parts where it says in browser. Everything that says in browser, you just follow that. It's also possible to install locally the VS Code for more advanced usages, but for our purposes, it's not needed. Okay, so now we'll wait for it to start. Shouldn't take long. And then, as you see, we'll run these commands. These commands you need to run every time, because what happens is while you are, let's say, away, so you closed and you're away and then come back, developers could have added new changes, and you want to have those changes too, to have the latest version when you are testing. So these commands ensure that you have the latest version, and also there is, for example, a part of uh, so the code, as you seen, it was written in human readable format, let's say, so with English word, let's say, and this is something that the computers cannot understand. So they are more basic encoding oriented, let's say. So they just understand zeros and ones, and so like yes and no's, and they can do arithmetic operation on those, but that's it. So all the complexity that you actually see with your computers are just derived from basic operation on zeros and ones. And the code that you write in human language need to be converted in computer terms. Is called programming terms. It's called compiled. It need to be compiled to binary code. Binary code is from that 0 and 1. That's the binary part of it, and then that can be executed by the computer, by your CPU. And now normally it should have started quicker, but maybe I have some internet issues. Let me refresh it, because normally the second time you start it, it should be considerably faster. Okay, now looks better. Okay, okay. So there was a glitch in the matrix, some internet issues. Okay, so now after you start this, you again copy these commands, you paste them here. This for the first time, and also when there are changes from the developers, it will take a bit of time to compile. Just the first compilation, it will take even longer because any program. Just to understand, I will go maybe a bit more technical in terminologies that maybe you are used to, because I'm a developer and somehow this is how my mind works. And okay, if something you feel that it's out of your understanding or something, you can ignore it. But if you feel that it would help you to understand more, you can just ask. You can also stop me now or ask on the chat. But for the purpose of all these running tests, let's say not all these details are necessary, but it helps you to better understand and have a better image of what's happening in all these IT computer programming QA world, and then you can have a easier time, let's say, when you actually develop and create your own tests, because you are aware of what's happening behind the scenes. And what's happening now is, for example, each program uses what's called dependencies or libraries, which is something like tools, let's say, that other people created, and we use those functionalities in order to create some basic basic operations that we don't spend time to create from scratch, because it's like reinventing the wheel. So it doesn't make sense for all of us to reinvent the same wheel, let's say. So if one invented the wheel, let's say that's a library that others could use. And this is what all these you see here. These are, let's say, libraries and projects that other people created, and we just take advantage of those, like others could take advantage of our code too. And the first time it compiles all these libraries alongside your code, which can be, let's say, maybe a few percent of the actual code combined with the libraries, and then it all becomes a big binary file that you run, like an exe, for example. Maybe you're familiar. I mean, you are familiar with that. And the next time, for example, when you will run these commands, it will just compile the part that developers change, like in our application, which is way smaller. So it will take considerably less time. But now, given that it's the first time, like a setup phase, so it will take a bit longer. So we'll wait a little bit, and the with test cases, you are already familiar what that means, and normally the test cases are to be run manually. And sorry, and for example, when a new version of an application is released, like something that you get an update from Play Store or Google or Apple Store, or how it's called, uh, you actually get a new code, a new release. This is how it's called. A new version is released, and anytime a new version is released, the company that releases that, let's say Facebook, I know WhatsApp or something like that, it has an internal team of testers, of QA engineers that test that application to make sure that it's working correctly, and they try to catch problems, bugs before they get to the real users. And this is what these test cases and, for example, more particular terminology are acceptance tests called, are run actually on every release. And depending on the application size, it could take from, I don't know, maybe hours to even days or even weeks if the application is huge. And you need to run this. Just imagine every release, which could be every, I don't know, few months, depending on their release cycle. And in time, it could become very boring, let's say, or tedious. And this automation process helps you to run all those steps, let's say, automatically, and without your intervention, just start it and run it. It's like I don't know, when you do laundry, so you're not actually doing laundry. So the machine does it for you. You're actually doing something else, and this is the same for this test. You just press run, let's say, or even they are triggered automatically, and you just need to intervene when there's something wrong. And this helps you that you don't need to spend that time doing these boring steps activities, let's say. So you could use your time to do more creative activities, which is what for what the human mind it was, let's say, created for. And now, for example, it finished compiling, and it also starts the application. And this warning you can ignore is just saying that it uses a lot of CPU on the machine, so which is expected because it's not a very strong machine. And this, the first time when the application starts, now the application started, it asks you for a password. This password is used for the encryption. So you could put, I know, and anything just to remember, like A, for example. First time it's also asking you to confirm, like you set a password, and then the application starts. And you can see here the the log. So this is very important for you if you can collect when you have found the bug, because this is the application way, let's say, to communicate with the developer, and this is like a way for us developers to see the state in which the application was and what operation were performed, so we could actually find the issue. And if you see like so now if you see green and yellow and stuff like that, orange, this is, let's say, fine. If you see red, that means bad. So be sure to just include the red parts. It's necessarily include the red parts, and also include like in the some logs in the past. So up is the past, and something like, I don't know, 100 lines or something like that, just to help the developer to debug the issue. And now that the application is started, for example, what it does, so here is the data folder where is the encrypted format of the data, and this is the on the final folder is what you normally see the data in a normal format. So for now, okay, it's empty. So for example, we can create a folder. Okay, some browser issues, and we create a file. Okay, doesn't like. Okay, let me start another browser because could be some browser issues that I have. What is this stuff? Okay. The gods of demons are not very friendly today. Let me guess it perfectly. It works. Okay. This works. Okay. So we created a file. We can add the content, and this is the normal content that you expect. And this is, for example, the file in the encoded format, so you don't understand anything. And also, if you go here, you see, for example, this is the name in encrypted format, and if you open it, the same. You don't understand. So this is the encrypted uh, part of the file, so encrypted data of the file. And this is in the final folder. Here is where you can use them. And let's just clear to have a clear setup for the test. And first, I'll do again a first test case, but then you can do for others also. Let's maybe do for this one. And how you can use it is
Radu, you're not
yeah.
showing your screen anymore.
Okay, let me check. Sorry about that. I think I got disconnected. I'll just reconnect. Can you see now my screen?
Yeah, now it works.
Okay. Okay. So how we can, for example, generate a test from a test case in using ChatGPT, for example. So for this, normally you don't need any development or programming experience. You can just use the knowledge of ChatGPT to generate Python code for you in this case based on the human readable test cases. So you need a prompt for this. So let me see if I have one. I don't have a created. Okay. So I'll just use something like create test in Python based on the test case test results and all operations will be made relative to final folder and to get speed. This one it's a bit more technical. You can ignore it. It's just for generating a simpler and easier test for you to understand, code for you to understand. Generate simple Python code without logging and try catch. Yes, using ourselves. Okay, and then we have the steps, and then we have the expected results. And here on the steps, we just take from here. For example, let's say creating a file from scratch. So normally you would run this operation manually. So you'll open application. Okay, in this case, it open, create a file in the final directory named test, put inside the contact text, and then on the checking part, you have the steps where you make sure that the test file is present in the file directory and the content is text. This is what you run normally by hand. I don't know, maybe it will take you 10 seconds, I don't know, 15, depending on how fast and how your karate skills are. And let's see how it takes here. So you just put the steps and then we put the expected results. Just take this. Here you can use, I don't know if this is paid. Maybe it is. Let me see. For, I think 4.0 for GPT-4 legacy. Let me think which model it's. I think GPT-4. I think GPT-4 it's available for free also. You can just play around, so you can just no see which 4.0. No, 4.0 I think it's free. Okay, you can use this one. Okay, then we'll ask it to generate. Okay. Okay, and then we just copy the code from here. We go back here, and for example, here you can create actually anywhere, but just create it in tests. Let's create a new file here. Let's call it 1.py. Py is from the Python. This is the extension for Python files. Ideally, you should maintain this. And okay, we just created this. And here, for example, this is a terminal what is on the bottom, and this is where the application runs, and it's using the terminal to show the logs. And we need to create a new one. You can create from here this plus, okay, and it created a new one. And here, for example, we can run the tests with, there is a Python command. You just need to write this py test and then test and then the file 1.py. Let's hope the God of Demons are okay. Okay, 1.py. Okay, just I'm not in the correct order, I think. Test on 1.5. Okay, py test command not found. Okay, okay. I'll resolve this in the steps. I'll add this. Actually, there are the steps here. Just I forgot to run them. They are here. Okay, they are here. So these are the steps. These are tests. And if you go at the bottom, so after you done all this, if you go at the bottom, there is this automation section, and there are these steps here. So we need to run these two in here. So that was the problem. So I just paste them. Okay, now it will install all these. Sorry for that, I just forgot. And now if we run again, PyTest test, okay. Okay, the test run, and now as you see, it says one test, which is good. Green is good. Normally in development, green is good. And uh, the test passed, so this is okay. So this code actually executed correctly, and this did the steps that we normally did manually. So just let's go very quickly through this because after that we'll go in more bit more depth. So if you just look here, okay, open the application is already open. Create a file in final directory name test. So if you look here, now it says that the final directory is this. Here it just makes sure that the final directory it exists. In our case, it does already. And here it creates the path of the file, which the path of the file is combined between the directory and the file name, which is the final directory, and the name of the file, which is test. And then it opens the file, which you see here, with the right, let's say, operation in mind. So it wants to write to the file, and it calls the file f, and then you can use the f to write to the file, and you write this content, which is text. And then you actually see here that it's actually using the text from your steps and expected results. And then here it just checks, set is just checking that uh, a file exists. So for example, this, okay, OS path is just like sugar syntax from Python, but you can understand that it's related to the path of the file that it's checking that path is an actual file, and then it gives the path for the file. So in this case, if the file exists, then everything is okay. It continues. If not, let's say we have some issues here, it doesn't create the file, then it will show this message: file test not found in directory. So let me just give you only an example of if the file will have, let's say, not been created, just to see how failed the test case looks like. So if you just run this now, you see that a lot of red, so this is bad. And you see this assertion error file test not found. Okay, in this case, the test is wrong, let's say, because it's checking for the wrong name, but I enforce it just to for you to see. So this is what is called in also in test QA and testing terminology, false positive. Why is that? So the positive part means that we found the bug. So the test failed. It means that we found the bug. That's the positive part. But the false positive, the false part is that we actually didn't found the bug, so the test case is wrong. So there was no bug, let's say, just that the test case being wrong, it reported the bug which is not present there. So that's the false positive meaning. And there is also the terminology of false negative that you will sometimes encounter. That means is for example, if there is a bug, but your test case doesn't cover that flow, so it actually doesn't catch that bug. So if you run the bug, if you run the test case, then the test you see that it passed. So that means there is no bug. That's the false part. But actually there is. So that's the false negative part of it because it's false that the bug is not present there. That's the terminology. So it's that. Okay. So you can then see after that. Then after it writes the content there. Uh, okay, it just checks. Here you can see that it checks. It opens the file again for read, and then it just reads the content in the content, and then it compares the content with the value that we need to check that it's present, which is text, and you see that it passed the test. So all other than these are just syntax sugaring from Python, let's say. So you can play around with this and generate test cases. I'll also give you these links. You can, if you want, you can use these test cases to generate Python code. If you want, you can create different ones. Just it's very, let's say, easy for you to understand how this application should behave. So what it is in the final folder should behave like a regular folder. And all operation that you are familiar with, you'll see there are more steps here, how you can copy files and so on. But all operations that you perform in this final folder should be the similar to operation you perform in a regular folder on your computer. So with which you are actually already familiar. So that's, let's say, the beauty of this application to be tested. That is not much to explain how it should work because you already are familiar how a regular folder should work, and this should work the same. So if you are willing to create tests based on these test cases, I really appreciate that. And if you do create in your instance that you will start like this, please let me know if you have some Python files created like that, because you could help me integrate them in the project, and then everybody will benefit of it because this is open source project that everybody can use and do whatever they want with it. And just keep in mind that if you don't use the instance for 1 month, it will be automatically deleted. So if you generate the tests, I don't know, in the next few days, please let me know. I will help you. I'll show you how you can send these tests back to us, to me, or to integrate them in the repo, because everybody will be very grateful for your effort. And now let's maybe if you have any questions for now, and then we can move and do a. I plan to do a very short Python tutorial, which will help you to understand some basic concepts and to understand better the code written. So if you have questions for now, please shoot now. Okay, so timeout period expired, and now I have planned to show you some basic tutorial of Python, basic introduction of the concepts. So normally you can use, for example, you can create a file anywhere in here. Let's say we create a folder. called py from Python. And here we create, I don't know, a file, folder, file. What is the file? Let me create again. Let's see. What is it? Okay, file. Sorry, I didn't see it. Okay, and then we create a file. Let's say 42.py for obvious reasons. Also, you can look the references on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Are nice references, but it's a bit geeky. Don't go into details. And actually, you can add your Python code here, and then you can actually run it from this console. And I'll go through. I use the ChatGPT also for this task to just create me I don't know 1 hour. I just ask it. You can see here on the form, I don't know, 1 2 hours. Okay, it will not take so long. So this part here, you don't need to do it because it was covered in the steps for the setup, like here, these ones. Okay, then you have something like this. So this is the in programming what are called variables. For example, variables are, as you are familiar from mathematics, are let's say placeholders for some values that can change. That's why it's called a variable because the value can vary. And you just refer to this placeholder name, and then you actually go to the behind the scenes. It will give you the actual value that it's referring to. And for example, you can see this is like we how we define a number. Here, this is how we define a text. So use these apostrophes, okay? And then this is a boolean, like true or false. And then you can have something like control flow. For example, control flow is like a decisional, is like a branching. So like let's say an intersection on y intersection where you can go to the left or right. So we can just copy this one, for example. You can just copy it in the file, and you see that it says that if number greater than five, it prints number greater than five, and then prints number more than five. And we just need, so what ChatGPT failed to do is to define the number to have a value. So let's say we have 42, and if we follow the logic, if number greater than 5, it should go through here, okay? And then you see here, for example, it goes from, let's for now just comment this out. So a comment is like this in Python. Comment means that the code remains there for you to use later, but it's not executed. Let's say it's ignored. And then we can run that. We can run that by saying Python 3 py 42.py. Okay, and we run the code, and you see numbers greater than 5, as we expect. And then we activate these two, and this is like what is called an iteration, a loop. So it performs the part in the loop. So in Python, the let's say the nested instruction or the children instruction, let's call them or something, are delimited with are indicated that they are children to another instruction by using the tab character. So, for example, here if we say for this loop, then inside the loop there is an instruction that is executed as many times as these parameters. So range 5 means from 1 to 5, so it will be executed 5 times. So this if inside the loop, it's you add a tab like this, and inside the loop it means that this print is just printing to the terminal to console, and it will execute this print 5 times. And the I is like the variable that is getting changing here. So this variable will get value from 1 to 5. It says that from I in this range is 1 to 5, and it will print from 1 to 5. And if we run again, we'll see the previous results, and then we'll see from zero. Okay, this so it does five steps. Let's say that's the important part. Just that in programming, indexing starts from zero, not from one, like you are used to, for different memory related issues. But just for you to understand, important is that the index starts from zero, and from zero to four there are five positions. So that's why it's like this. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So then we have the functions. Function is something very similar like you have in math. So you have this function called greet, which takes a parameter like f with x, f of x, and actually here it just returns. So returning is what the value of the function is. So like let's say the y axis, if this will be a number, but here in programming, the returning value could be, let's say, anything, which is, let's say, a type. So in this case, it returns a string. As we see here, this is a string, like a sequence of characters. And here we return something like hello, and we'll put here the name. So this is a special syntax. So for example, if you want to address a variable inside this string, you put it inside this parentheses. And also, in order to indicate that this string is such a string that for this you want a variable and not this actual character here, not this parenthesis here. You just put f in the front, which means format this string, and it will format this string, and then it will. This is like a template. This string is a template that will replace the name with the actual value that you're calling it. Like you are here, greet QA engineer, and then if you run this, you see that hello QA engineer is printed out. Okay, so these, for example, are some important standard libraries. So import is like a statement that says that use some kind of library. Library, we said, is like a collection of other functions, let's say, tools that we can use that others wrote. In this case, math library is actually embedded in the standard Python library. So the creators of Python actually created all these functions in math. And here we actually print the value of the square root of 25. So this is how you refer it here. You say math, which is the name from here, and then you put a dot, and then this is the function inside that math library or module. Actually, this is like what is called the module, and you can then see that it will print out the value of the square root of 25, which is k5. And then there are some type of data structures that are useful to use. So, for example, there are lists. Lists are stuff that are a sequence of values that is kept in order and also can have duplicates, for example. So we could have here, for example, Chrome twice. We see that it will get printed twice. Just is not printed. Okay, let's add the print browsers. Okay, we'll print the browsers, and then let's just see how it works. You see, we have Chrome twice, and the idea is that we have here this line append. This actually adds to this list a new item, which is Edge. That's how you see these values down there. And then let's see with the dictionary. Let's isolate the dictionary. So I commented out all these. You see, are grayed out also in the editor. That so this will be ignored or not executed. And here it's actually loading. Let's first see if it works. Okay, then I can explain to you. Let me Let me have a better example for map. This normally loads from uh, it should put the values, but okay. Right. It's okay. Okay, just I wasn't paying attention, so my bad. Sorry. Okay. So this is like creating a map. Let's see for the content of the map. Okay. So if you see, so this map is like it associates key value pairs. So a key is, for example, this URL, and it associates the value of this HTTP blah blah, and then to the timeout, it's associated the value of 10. And then if we go and we just want to print the value that it's having the key at the key URL, for example, and in their case, you see that it prints the actual URL. So this prints the value with the of what's the key of URL, and you can see it printed out. Uh, Sorry, I just need to go 3 minutes, and I'll be back. Sorry for that. Just 3 minutes. Sorry. I'm back. Sorry. Uh, can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? How about now? There are some. Okay, now can you hear me? Okay. Can you confirm if you can hear me now? I don't mind. Okay, sorry for that. Yeah, it most likely took more than 3 minutes. Like I said, then this is because you're seeing time. The developers are very optimistic persons normally. The QA actually need to be more pessimistic because we need to find problems. We need to find solutions. So let's say we have different objectives in mind. So that's why you'll find out that Developers are telling you that they can do something very quickly, but then it gets the complication. But normally, when they analyze that, it's obvious what they told you, it's fair what they told you, but then they end up discovering new problems because this is how life is. And they, okay, you need to resolve those problems, and it takes more than the problems that are initially thought of. So you will see this in time. Okay, so now here, for example, we see what's called is a tuple. Tuple is excuse me just a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you have some
Can you
background
hear me? Okay.
noise.
Sorry, I just okay. Sorry about that. Something again, developer life. Okay, and this kind of tuples, for example, maybe a better example would be like this. I'll explain. Okay, so this is like the tuple is okay, like the name says, but it's like let's say like a list somehow, but it is let's say not using way to index it. It's like having uh, multiple values in order. Let's say, okay, this is similar to this, but the idea is that, for example, you could return, so normally from a function, also, let's say normally like in math, you return one value, but you can use this tuple type, which is a type, you can return one type, let's say from a function, you can return one type, and if you want to return, let's say, multiple primitives, instead of putting them in a list or something like that, you can just return a tuple like this. So this is like you will return multiple values, let's say, but this is in a cleaner format for this particular case when you want to refer to multiple values. So you'll see in several places when maybe you want to return a status of something and I don't know, result. And that's the value that is getting. So if the status I know is failed or something, you actually will not get a result, maybe you'll get a result error or something. But if the status is okay, then you can go ahead and process the result. So this is useful. And then you have a set. For example, a set is very similar to a list, but the difference is the set cannot contain duplicate values. Like if we put here this value again, and we print the set, you'll see that the sanity appears only once. And also, you might see that the order is not retained. If you have a small regression here, and if you see okay, sanity. So it has
different way of ordering inside, not for this purpose to go into details, but a set is like just a collection of items, and that's it. You just know that it is in the set contains that value, and that's it. You don't care if you don't know a bag of balls, but you don't care the order. Most likely, the balls in the bag is very hard to have an order. Okay. What else? So here, maybe we can just quickly go through this because it's easier if you just use them. You've seen that here on here we actually use them. So when we created the file, we have this here. So for example, here it's very similar. It's opening the file with this name for the right permissions, and it's calling it file. This is a variable that is the placeholder for how it can be formatted for that, and then we can write in the file whatever we want. Basically, this is the syntax. And then for reading, we actually do similarly, just that we put here read. We can also combine them. We can use read write, and then with the file we can also do read write. If you want, it's also possible. Then there is this exception. Uh, sorry about the sound. So is the sound better now? Do you hear me better than? Okay. Okay. Sorry for that. What was happening was that I had noise cancellation headphones, and it seems that it has the different modes. So now I'm in the noise cancellation mode. For the speakers, I thought it's only working for the speakers, but it's applied the noise cancellation also for the mic. And before I wasn't in the noise cancellation mode, so you see that it wasn't applied for the mic either. So now I know. Okay. And now let me go a little bit about this exception. So this maybe more advanced, but I will just explain you in short. So this is like try block which says try to do this operation, for example, which is division by zero. And as we know from math, we cannot divide by zero. And in the case of in the case of some kind of an operation that it cannot be performed. An exception occurs. What's happening, and this is here we catch the type of exception because many kind of exception can occur, and actually this is one type of exception. And in case of zero division error, then we just print that there is that error. Okay. So the important part is, for example, if we have here something like print, I don't know. So if this results in an error, in an exception, sorry, if it results in an exception, it stops the execution, so it will not print 42. It will just go here and it will print the error, and that's it. So it will just stop the step. And here are just some standard libraries that you can use. For example, this library is used for fetching data from a web page. So this is a web page. Selenium, we will see later on in the course. We'll go more in depth in Selenium. This is a framework used for uh, automating, let's say, manual input on the web page. So you could actually simulate how the user will click on buttons and stuff like that will input values in input fields on the actual web page. And it's actually it's starting behind the scenes, starting in this case Chrome browser, which actually loads the page, and it has a way to interact with it and simulate operations like you would do, but automatically. We will see this in the later sessions. And this with the PyTest, actually, we see that we actually did this. So we created this function called test blah blah, and then we wrote this kind of sequence PyTest. That's fine. Okay, so that's the very, very minimalistic let's say, crash course of Python. So now, if you have questions, please go. Uh, Maybe can anyone say something just to make sure I hear correctly because my
Yeah, I'm just
my
checking
headphones give me.
the chat section, but there are no questions yet.
Okay, let's wait. I think I cannot hear you. Okay.
I guess we can stop the recording, right?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Rado, we
Let
can
me
hear
restart.
you.
Cannot hear you.
I'll go ahead and turn off the recording for now. And if there are any questions, we can move them over to the group so that everyone can see them.